Welcome to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast, where we talk about all things Star Wars. My name is James.
My name is David.
I'm Colin.
I'm Brooke.
And I'm Sam.
And hello,
Sam
everybody. Sam, yes. Welcome to our little podcast we got going here. And we got a lot of things to talk about today. But of course, the main thing that we need to talk about is the siege.
Max Rebo lives.
And we'll get to that later, okay? We actually will talk about that. That's going to be later
Okay,
on the show.
good.
But for right now,
that's second half, Colin.
yeah, take it easy. But yes, the
Back an hour.
premiered on Disney Plus this Friday. How many times have y'all watched this episode already?
Only twice.
Yeah.
Twice for me too. What about
I've
you,
seen it
David?
once.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're slacking,
Wow,
David. Come on,
David.
Brooke and David are
Slacking.
slacking. But yeah, so The Siege, directed by Carl Weathers, and I looked, and this is like his second thing he's directed. Like, he directed something in 2018, but he's been in the business for so long. I'm pretty sure he's like, I got this. I know how to do this. So starting with David, what did you think of this latest episode of The Mandalorian?
I thought it was, I mean, like I've said before in the past, anything we get Star Wars related, I'm grateful for, and I'm just super excited to see. I was expecting we would get hoping we would get a new character, something like a kind of like a twist or some new information. We got that, so I was happy with that. Most of the time I kind of feel concerned about the other fans, what they're going to think about the episode. So it was kind of surprising to me that so many people thought this was like a really great episode. A lot of people thought so.
Yeah, somebody told me they said this was their favorite episode of the season so far. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to be like, really? I was just like, okay, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I watched it. I thought about it, and I was like, I could understand where somebody could be coming from because the action is really great in this episode. And plus, I'll get into my stuff later. But yeah, that was so. Yeah, Colin, what did you think about this latest episode?
So something that Jon Favreau has talked about in the past was that that most likely we would probably see the rise of the First Order and all that stuff. And and something else that I loved about the Mandalorian is that it gives us the chance to see things that was in Legends come to canon, and now in this episode something that was Legends is canon again, which is super nice. And I love the fact that that each episode is directed by a new director, so it's not like the same person every time.
Yeah.
So each episode has its own pace, and it's not something that we know to expect, because I think every season now, going forward, there will probably be a new director or someone original doing it. But it's nice to see like new stuff coming out from like a new person's vision of what Star Wars is, and
Gotcha.
I think that's pretty sweet.
That is actually really cool. What about you, Brooke? How did you feel about this last episode?
I liked it. And something that I know I've said multiple times is that I would love to see the rise of the First Order, because like they never really talk about it and like how exactly they came to power. And that's something that I was totally not expecting to like kind of get a glimpse of in this episode. So I saw it and I was like, what? Like I got really, really excited. And especially we got like a little snippet of like Kylo's theme in there too. And I was like, what?
Yeah, somebody also, they went back and they found a few other themes that I was like, oh my gosh, like they're it's like, yeah. Anyways, Sam, how did you feel about this one?
I thought it was really good. I think for the first time, we really got a solid direction of, I think, where the show is going over the next several seasons almost. Seeing, oh, shoot, like, Baby Yoda, the child, maybe they need to get his metachlorians and stuff for, for sentient clones.
No. M count. You
M
don't
count.
say the word.
We don't say metachlorians. But that was cool. And then seeing... And like Colin mentioned, the Dark Troopers that were in there. I mean, that's really cool to bring that back from Legends. But you have that with Bo-Katan, and the Dark Saber. So you're gonna have a kind of a rise up of the Mandalorians against that. I think you can kind of see, okay, First Order starting. There's gonna be this huge kind of battle. That's being foreshadowed and stuff. So I think it was really cool to finally see a direction after, what was this, chapter 14? that what this? What, no, what?
No, 12.
12.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
This is
even
12.
numbers over 10. Less than
Next Friday's 13. Yeah.
Sorry. So we'll chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, episode 4. That's 14. Anyways,
Well-
so yeah, I really liked it. I think we have a really clear direction. I'm really excited to see how this goes into the next episode. You know, if we see
I have a general question. though.
Ahsoka and see how that all builds. Be cool.
Yeah, I have a general question. Do you think that the director makes that much of a difference? Because I think Filoni and Favreau are kind of over this whole thing, and it's Favreau's story. So do you really
Right.
think picking a new director really has any kind of
No.
real impact on what we're actually watching? Because it feels like to me, like no matter who they get to direct, they're all pretty solid, and they all continue on Favreau's story.
Well, any
Right.
TV show has multiple directors, right? This isn't a new concept.
So to kind of understand what you're saying it really doesn't matter the director because of the story was already written. They are just there on set and making sure that everything goes according to script.
They get the shots, they get
Yeah.
everything. And the other thing is that the show, as we know, is like basically CGI'd digitally, and then they pick out all their camera angles, and then they just recreate it on screen. That's what we saw from the Mandalorian gallery, right?
Right. Yeah, because I was seeing like a lot of praise being heaped on Carl Weathers for the speeder bike stuff, and I was like, that was all CGI. I don't think he really like directed it per se. I think that was more the animators. What do you think, James? You're the director.
Well, I mean, you know, a director's job, of course, is to get the performances as well as to place the camera where he feels is the best place to tell the story. So
Right.
a lot of camera angles, and you go to Steven Spielberg, and he has really crazy camera angles in all his movies because that's his style. That's the way he likes to do, like the camera whipping around and everything. So with this one, yeah, Carl Weathers puts the camera where he wants it and says, okay, I'm going to get this shot right here because I think this is the best way to do the action. And he did the action pretty well. I'm not going to lie. And so the speeder part, I can just imagine him going like, yeah, I want it to be like this. And you're going to make it come down and they had the set for him. And he goes, yeah, we're going to put the camera here and everything. So I think it's the director's vision trying to bring the writer's vision to the screen. So they have to work together. And I feel like the directors they've been choosing have been doing a really great job in doing that for The Mandalorian. And so, yeah, that's my 2 cents there.
James just put it in a really beautiful way right there.
No, I totally agree. I mean, the director's point is to get, certain performances out of actors on set. But what I'm curious about is this show is different than a lot of shows that I've seen because they use like body doubles with motion tracking suits and stuff. They basically CGI the entire episode, right? And then they get all their camera angles, they get all their backdrops because they're using the projected backgrounds.
Gotcha.
So what I'm curious is on set, how much liberty the director actually has, because I feel like the entire episode is basically predetermined, and then they're just, getting those shots. So
well,
I'm curious.
Well, since they're on the volume and you can kind of just be like, all right, let's do this. There comes a part where you're filming and you're kind of like, oh, it'd be really cool if we get this angle instead.
Yeah,
and so then you shift over and the director says, okay, give me the lighting for this and let's do that. So yeah, there's still moments even on big productions where you have like kind of like, oh, this would be cool. Let's do this really quickly. And then, you do that. So I think it's a very unique show. And it's one of those things that hopefully they release like a box set of the season with a more in-depth behind the scenes. I love the gallery, but I want more of like how the directors reacted to everything. But yeah, I think Carl Weathers did great. I think Bryce Dallas Howard did amazing for her last week's episode. And I think the directors that Lucasfilm is choosing, Favreau, Filoni, and Kennedy are getting for this are just the best. And I don't think they would mess that up, So
it's their last chance at Star Wars to please fans at this point.
Exactly. So. But this episode was really, and I'll go back to what Sam was saying and how we have a direction now, because if you think about it, the first 3 episodes were just Mandalorian thinks Moff Gideon is dead. He thinks Mandalorian thinks that whole plot is finished. Like he's like, oh, I killed the guy, so I just got to get the child back to where he needs to go. And then this episode was like, oh yeah, by the way, that plot from season 1 is going to be very, very important going forward. So it was kind of like, oh man, now it feels like the season really, really just started, because now we're going to start getting into some crazy stuff. And then David pointed out this week, which freaked me out. I've been telling everybody, I was like, you realize that we've already seen everything from the trailers right now. Everything from the trailers we've seen. So there's a whole 4 other episodes we have no idea
because
what
we
they're
haven't
gonna
seen the
do.
footage.
Yeah,
So.
we haven't seen a single frame for anything going forward. So it's like, ooh, this is gonna get good. But so let's get into like what we liked about the show.
The
What we liked
Easter eggs and
Okay, I'm gonna throw it out there. All right. Was that not Ray in the classroom? It can't be Ray.
The buns, right?
But
the hair.
the
Okay,
buns were really prominent, and they showed her for like 3 seconds.
It's not Ray. No.
I
saw the buns. I was like, "Oh, little girl has Ray buns."
So
I was
I
like,
mean,
no, wait a minute.
so
like,
Sam, there is an actual possibility because of the time frame. It like how old is Ray in Force Awakens?
Well, I'm okay, but before you go there, we got to go back to the flashback she has when the plot is pulling her.
Right.
How old was she? Is this girl around that same age? She looks like she's around that same age to where she could have been on Navarro. Her father and mother could have been there as a sanctuary, to, because they're keeping everybody safe. The marshal and I'm gonna call him Carl Weathers are keeping them all safe there. And so what if they're being hunted and then they take her to Jakku after that? So that's a possibility. But I don't know.
I didn't think about it being like her being dropped on Jakku, because I saw that hair. I'm like, oh, that's Ray hair. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't pass that. So
here's the funny thing is that I love how deep we're getting into this, but at the same time, it could just be a girl wearing
with the same hair,
wearing the same buns as Ray.
There are no coincidences.
David looks concerned over here.
Yeah, I only see one girl with the 3 buns, and she looks way older than what we saw on.
Yeah, I know.
Ray gets dropped. Yeah.
Oh man, but it was like I saw them. I saw the buns and like how she's leaning over and talking, and how they showed her. Like they were like, "Hey, this is a girl with 3 buns in her hair in this classroom," and then they cut away from her, and I was just like, I remember I paused it, and I was just sitting there in my living room going, "Wait." And I'm going through the whole thing like, "Okay, is this possible?"
Iconic buns, like. To put them on like another little girl almost feels like it means something.
Yeah.
Like, but then again, if we saw a girl with the Leia buns, a young girl, we'd be like, oh, that's cool. Like she knew what Leia looked like she saw the videos of the holo videos of Leia, and she wears her buns like. But the fact that the timeline is this, the timeline is where it's at. She's a little girl.
It's a possibility.
Never seen anybody else with 3 buns. It gets you kind of thinking, and it's probably not her. It most likely is not her, but man.
Here's the thing. They could do what they kind of did with the MCU, where if you go back and watch Iron Man 2 and that fight scene is going on,
she's
near
like
the end of the
14.
film.
She's like 14 in this. I'm watching the clip.
There's no way that would
not that
like
old.
12.
Yeah, this is a stretch.
She's old, man. She's not. Yeah. She's not 5.
So do you guys remember in Iron Man 2, there's that kid that is wearing like the Iron Man mask,
and then they retconned it saying it was Spider-Man,
right? Right. As a younger kid, they could really do that if they wanted to. They like try to do that in Attack of the Clones, where they're there was the same species as Ahsoka in that scene with Obi-Wan and Yoda talking in, and then they were like, "Hey, let's try to make this Ahsoka," but it didn't turn out the way they wanted to because of that character was like way too young to be Ahsoka. Because of the Clone Wars takes place like a couple of months like after.
And who directed Iron Man 2?
Jon Favreau.
Favreau directed it. Oh crap.
Yeah, so
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
no,
so I mean,
wow.
there is that possibility, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, it would be great. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of on the lines of people saying that speeder bike that Cobb Vanth had in the first episode of the season was Anakin's pod racer. That ticked me off because I'm like, there's so many stuff on Tatooine. It's not going to be
much more of a possibility than I think this Ray.
Okay, but here's my thing. Who's to say he didn't like? Okay, never mind. I'm not going to go into all this.
Please don't, because you're just going to tick me off.
But it's one of those things. It's one of those things though that it was like, are you paying tribute to, Force Awakens and Ray,
What's a
Or-
Star Wars hairstyle?
I think it's a
how-
little nod to Ray, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's not Ray. It's
Yeah.
not Ray.
Well,
probably
well,
not.
I mean, and that's not the only sequel trilogy Easter egg in this. Like, I think there's like 3.
Well, there's a massive one
Oh, yeah.
supposedly later on,
And we'll talk about that in a sec.
but yeah, the Ray, I just had to get that one out because I saw her and I even like rewound it back and I just stared at the screen for like the longest time, going, "Oh my gosh!" If they
For
Yeah.
people that don't know what scene we're talking about, it's the scene where they go in the classroom, which actually used to be the cantina there, and there's a girl, like, I think in the back row, that has like the same buns as Ray, and I think you can only see her like 3 seconds or something like that. I didn't see it the first time, and then on the second time, Brooke had to like show me, and I was like, oh, I didn't see that.
Let me guess, Brooke screamed and was like, "Get over here and watch this!" Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause
Something along to that. Yeah.
I would have done the same thing. But and then of course the child eats macaroons.
Oh my god.
There's no way those were not macaroons that
They
he
were
was eating.
literally macaroons.
Those
Yeah,
are
it was like
flavored.
yeah, I was watching it, and then like at work we have some there, and they're like, "Hey, look, it's Star Wars," and I was like, "Yeah." Well, wasn't Leia eating rice cakes on Return of the Jedi? Like they tried to hide it what she's eating when she gives it to Warwick Davis, but if you look closely, it's like that's a rice cake. Like don't say that's not a rice cake that you're eating. But anyways, so we're getting everywhere. Okay, so the show had a lot of cool callbacks to the first season, as well as it gave us a look into what's possibly going to happen. And so we get to this Imperial base there. And I love the setup because it looked just like Jedi Fallen Order. I was so happy when they showed like, what the
Yeah.
base looked like. I was like, Jedi Fallen.
Before we go forward, because you mentioned that game, I wanted to say something I found out today is that game's it's been 1 year since it came out, and it's like since then it's been number 2 in the US for like being like the most bought like game. And
Wow.
that's
It's on
crazy.
Xbox Game Pass right now. I downloaded it.
Yeah, it beat Animal Crossing. And that I know. I was like, what? So, I mean, if you guys haven't played that, check it out. It's really cool. And I'm surprised it actually got on that rank.
Me
Like,
too.
yeah.
Well,
I
everything
was-
right now, Star Wars is pretty hot. I told you
Yeah.
earlier in the week that the number 1 show streaming in the country, in the USA, is The Mandalorian. But the number 6 streaming show is Clone Wars.
Yeah,
which is
a lot of people I
crazy.
know are saying they're going back and watching Clone Wars because they're like, "Oh
They
my
got
gosh,
it.
I need to catch up. I need to." Apparently, the Clone Wars was very important, because I was very anti Clone Wars for a while. I was kind of like, it's cool. I mean, there's some cool stuff. And then finally, I sat down and watched it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so important. This is like
Yeah.
super. You
Right.
need to watch this as a Star Wars fan."
And
But
so many people say it's a kid's show, but I feel like
It's not.
you watch some episodes, you're just like, oh, okay.
yeah, there's some stuff in there that I saw that I was like,
Yeah.
It's like
not-
suicide in that show, right? Like,
It's like just about everything you can imagine.
My favorite though was there was a part where this guy was like in like one of those hover chairs, and like I forget, Obi-Wan like knocks him out and then like force pulls him, and the guy just like crashes against the wall like face first, and I was like, whoa, that was a little too, even for like a kid, like for any movie that would be like, whoa, that's a little
Yeah.
bit too much. But and then they talk about like politics, loans, and all those other. Anyways, so yeah, watch Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It's really great. But anyways,
Yeah.
so the big Easter egg. Let's get into like the big Easter egg because I think everybody wants to know about how we feel about this. So they go into this. They think it's a military outpost, but it's actually a lab, which makes
Yeah.
sense that it's on Navarro because that's where everything was taking place. So that makes
Yeah.
sense for the first season. So you find out it's a lab, and you see they have like test subjects in these tanks,
Test
these
tubes.
bacta tanks or test
Yeah.
tubes. And we see the doctor from the first season talking and saying how what was it was like a failure. Is that what he said? Like what they're trying to do is not working, and that they've already used all the child's blood that they had in reserve. And we see one of these test subjects in this tube, and Rudy was the one who said that looks like Snoke.
that was
Yeah,
my first
same.
instinct.
I was like, no, it's not. And then he paused, and I looked up at it, and I was like, That looks like Snoke. Like,
Yeah, and the like line that the doctor says is that like these like test subjects did not go according to plan. It would probably would if we got more DNA from the original host. So I mean, if for some reason it ends up not being like the Emperor and Snoke and all that, then what the heck is it? It would make more sense if
it has to be the Emperor.
It has
and
to
Snoke.
be.
What do you think, David?
And yeah.
Well, I think I got an inside tip last night, so
Okay.
I don't think I should say anything.
No, let us. I mean, wait, do we want to know?
Well, that's the question. I mean, someone that I trust said something last night online, and I was like, oh, that's. He just kind of alluded to it, but I mean,
I don't think it's Snoke, but I think it's part of the Snoke program. If that makes sense.
So, okay, what is? Do we want to know? Do y'all want to see what David's talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brooks,
well,
like,
I think from everything this episode kind of talks about and leads us up to, I mean, I think what everyone initially thought. I mean, they're making these dark troopers, and they're going to, which goes back to Legends, where I think we're going to see something like kind of inhabit those dark troopers.
Okay.
And the next episode, I think we're going to see a lot of action with them, and of course, we're going to get Ahsoka. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing really surprising the way it's going to lead up, and I think it is going to tie in, like Favreau said, that we're going to see the beginnings of the First Order and how that ties in. But I think the big thing is it's going to tie into Palpatine.
Yeah. So okay, so you were saying that those test subjects and the tubes and stuff are what they're putting inside the Dark Troopers?
Yeah, basically. It's not
Okay.
Snoke, but I mean, I think it's technology that's going to lead to Snoke.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, everyone's first thought was, oh, that's something like we saw on the Rise of Skywalker at the very beginning with Snoke in those tanks. But I mean, this is all. What's really cool is they're pulling from Legends with the Dark Troopers and the interpretation. The Dark Troopers some of them were straight up droids, and some of them were cyborgs as well. They were actual clones, and I believe what they're basically trying to do is make a force sensitive army of Dark Troopers. That's what the end game is here. So
wow.
And of course, them experimenting is going to lead to the explanation of how Palpatine came to be in The Rise of Skywalker, which I think is awesome. And I think the question is, did Disney say, hey, Jon Favreau, do you think you could work in the whole like mystery of how Palpatine actually came to be in the last movie?
That would be nice.
I mean,
but I think that Favreau on his own did that. I don't think Disney came to him and was like, hey, can you kind of like fill us in here, fill the audience, the fans in?
Well, it's a really cool plot, right? Like having force sentient clones and stuff, and then that'd be perfect for the Emperor because obviously Palpatine like has some experience with cloning and stuff, and like producing a clone army.
Yeah.
So it'd be that, a little bit referencing that, but then also being like, this is the next generation. This is what we're gonna do this time, and pretty cool.
Well, so the reason why I think it is Snoke is, is because of they were talking about getting more DNA from the original host. I mean, who else could they be talking about? Because of it can't be the child, because of they like said that
unless it's Palpatine.
Well, yeah, it can be the child because they had the child momentarily and they did extract.
We assume they got some blood from him.
Yeah. They said that getting some DNA from the child did help the process, but they didn't say it was the original host. They implied that there was a different original host.
But they're like desperately after Baby Yoda. I mean, that's why they're after Din, and then Din's going to lead them to Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And who knows, Ahsoka might have more M count.
I saw an interesting theory where they were like, Ezra could possibly be there with Ahsoka. Or she's
the whole Rebels crew could be there.
The whole Rebels crew. And they even said Cal Kestis could even also be somewhere in there in this next episode.
The whole crew.
That would be
That'd be
wild,
crazy.
though.
That
That
would
would
be
be
the
like
best.
so many like, like just freaking out like the entire time. I don't think anyone
And-
would have like any time to breathe.
What's wrong with that? Come
Well,
on, do it. It's
Nothing's wrong with that.
No,
nothing's wrong
Well,
with that.
Well, so
But-
I mean, and something else that I was thinking about is that if that when Ahsoka shows up, and that does lead to like a giant battle. Again, this is footage that we haven't seen yet. Wasn't in
Yeah.
the trailers or anything.
Nothing.
So at this point, it's unknown. It's like unknown. So I'm really curious on what the very last scene is going to be, of the very last episode, because of we don't really know anything about the TV shows or anything, and I mean of the spinoff. So we have no idea if it's going to be a situation where Baby Yoda gets if he gets captured, and then it's like
No.
Empire Strikes Back, where they have to go and save him in the next season. So I know this has nothing to do with this episode, but I'm just curious on where this is going to go, because they did really talk about the First Order, and I really would like to see maybe a young Hux. I think seeing young Hux would be like a really good introduction, because right now his father was one of the founders of the First Order when the Empire went into hiding. So and they wanted to use clones, but then they steered away from it, and they started kidnapping kids at like a very young age, like Finn. So maybe the experience with the clones kind of, of this cloning process kind of dissuades them from not doing clones, and maybe we could see like Hux's father and Hux maybe.
Here's a question just for like Disney and what they want to do from like a money perspective and what might be successful. Do you
What you
think
got?
they want to push too early into doing the whole First Order thing? Because
I
people
know.
kind of have a bad taste in their mouth from the sequel trilogy. So does Mandalorian want to do that yet? You know, or if they're going to do that, they're going to do it in the last season and try to make
Yeah.
it more like classic Star Wars, right? I mean, if you start showing up like the new stormtroopers and stuff, people are going to not like that, right?
Oh no.
No, we're not going to see new stormtroopers. I think we're just going to see like right now, even though this is like the beginnings of the First Order, this is still the remnants of the Empire. Like these
Right,
guys are still.
exactly.
So I don't think we're going to see anything like that. And I have to look at the timeline, because I know in the book Bloodline by Claudia Gray, she writes about how Leia starts to figure out that there is money going toward another organization, and that a lot of people are backing this new organization. And at this point, Ben Solo is already with Luke during this time training to be a Jedi. So I have to figure out how old Ben was, how old all of this was, and when this all started to happen. So this might be in a couple of years in where we are in Star Wars, The
Yeah.
Mandalorian, or this could be right now. I don't know. But eventually it's going to start to happen. And whether or not, like you said, Disney wants to do that, I don't know. I mean, part of me says give us hints, but don't just be like, oh, in the First
Well,
Order.
that's what I'm saying, right? I mean, if you
Yeah.
can kind of have like, oh shoot, there's Snoke. Oh man, oh there's the Emperor. Oh man, but it's kind of like this little independent story, you know, of the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So
I don't know.
Going to what you say, Sam, about what Disney wants to do, I don't think Disney is in charge, but they're not. I think it's Disney gave all the reins to Favreau, and Favreau is doing whatever he wants because he's already proven himself in the MCU, and he's proven himself with season 1. So they're just like signing checks, and that's it. I don't think there's any interference by Disney.
Sure,
No.
but I mean, but Disney and Lucasfilms is like one bubble of like, you know, from the money side of things. Is it the best move from like a, you know, to bring back like the First Order and the sequel stuff, as opposed to kind of sticking in this Mandalorian, like, you know, really close to the original trilogy bubble, right?
Well, I think for Disney and Lucasfilm, they see it's working, so they're gonna
Yeah.
just say like, just keep doing what you're doing, Favreau and company. But yeah, that's a good question. We'll see what they do. We'll see what they do at the end of this. But okay, here's what you were saying, Colin. You were like, what would the final shot be? I was like, okay, how cool would it be if Mandalorian has a lightsaber at the very end of the season, and not just any lightsaber, he has Luke's lightsaber. Like there's got to come a point where she's got to say we're
From
going to
Empire
need
Strikes Back, like the originals. Okay,
So
you
that
know
was me that
what?
said that.
what what'd you
I
say?
think that was me that said that.
Yeah, you did say that, but now I'm thinking like how, like if they're saying like there's a war coming and like this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. You're gonna need a weapon to fight, and then somehow an
Well, see, I
episode's
think it's
gonna be him.
Bo-Katan that has Luke's lightsaber.
You think
That's
she
who I
has
think
his
has the
lightsaber?
lightsaber. Yeah,
Why?
because well, I mean, it makes sense story-wise because she can actually wield a weapon like that. Din Djarin can't. So if we do have an end battle between Moff Gideon with the darksaber, what better person to go up against them? Bo-Katan with Luke's lightsaber trying to get the darksaber from him, and who
Or
can actually
Ahsoka.
wield it? Well, we'll see. We all think that Ahsoka's really not going to be like a heavy part. She's going to have the next episode, but I think something's going to happen to where she's going to be kind of like taken out. But of course, yeah, she could come in and wield a lightsaber that she already owns. But I think the cooler thing would see the story for another time, because Maz Kanata talked about it, and we get that gap filled in. I think that would be awesome. That's just my theory.
But here's another cool thing. What if he has? Well, who has the green lightsaber? Like, oh wait, the green lightsaber goes away, right? Never mind. Don't listen.
Yeah,
to
in
me.
Return of the
Don't listen
Jedi.
to me.
Luke still has it.
Yeah,
he
still
still
has
has it during this time. I mean,
Yeah, he had it
but
but
he
when the whole
loses it, yeah.
fall,
Yeah,
That's right.
when the whole fall of like of Ben Solo and the rise
Yeah.
of Snoke or whatever, he goes to the island and he like sinks his X-wing and he throws his lightsaber into the water on the
We
island.
never saw the lightsaber after
No.
he and Ben Solo had their little fight
No,
there.
I don't
But
think
anyways, don't listen to James. James doesn't know what he's talking about. But yes,
Where's Obi-Wan's lightsaber from A New Hope? Where did that end
Where are
up?
all the lightsabers?
Anakin has that. Darth Vader did have that.
Right.
Where's Mace Windu's lightsaber? You know, it just keeps going.
Where is it?
Hux was supposed to have it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Hux
because
and
he was
Duel of
supposed
the
to have it in
Fates.
original
Hux
script, yeah.
has it, and he
And
kills
he
himself.
kills
with it,
himself in Coruscant when like they're that seriously, that movie would have been so cool.
That movie,
Like,
that moment would have been
oh.
awesome.
Yeah.
And because somebody was
Yeah.
like, "Well, I thought Mace Windu's lightsaber flew out the window." I was like, "No, Anakin chopped it off. It probably landed right there on the floor." So,
Yeah. So
anyways,
so
back to Mandalorian.
I was gonna say I know we went like way off topic, but but something cool about the scene too was on the timestamp of 20 seconds of 20 minutes 18 seconds to 20 minutes and 33 seconds, you can hear Kylo Ren's like theme, like it's very close to it. Like, I mean,
It is.
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what they're doing with all the music and everything. Because if you go back even to the original movies, and especially the prequels, John Williams was tying in a bunch of themes to like connect everything together. And I'm wondering if Ludwig's doing the same thing, where he's like,
got to
"All
be.
right."
That's a Star Wars thing
Yeah.
for sure to do.
Yeah, he's like, okay, I'm gonna bring in a hint of this to make you realize, oh, this is actually tied into all of this over here. That's exciting, man. And somebody said they even heard a little bit of the throne room theme as well on another part where you can hear. Oh, it's whenever. Oh, wait, never mind. It was that same scene. And
Yeah,
apparently,
that's what I hear everyone saying that. Yeah, it's Emperor Palpatine Episode 3 theme in there.
Here. Right.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Hopefully, y'all can hear this, audience.
Copyright strike.
child is small, and I was only able to harvest a limited amount without killing him.
Yep, that sounds just like.
These experiments are to continue as requested. We would again require access to the donor. I will not disappoint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
that
'cause
one little piece.
no,
Hey.
it goes dun dun dun
Did it twice.
dun dun.
Yeah, that's Kylo Ren's theme.
yeah. So
That's
100%.
man.
yeah,
This is
That's a scoop because no one's saying it. I haven't heard.
I got
anyone talk
goosebumps.
about that.
Whoa, because like
Star Wars
I
said
heard
it
it
first.
right away when I watched the episode. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. I was too busy going like, what in the world is going on?
I was thinking about Gene's guy. That was right there. And so I was still trying to figure that out.
The stage hand. The stage hand DeLorean.
And yes, audience, there was a crew member hanging out on the set, and it's one of
you
those
can actually
things where,
see it in Sam's.
if you look at Sam's clip, you can see the guy there.
Yeah.
But what's funny was that was a picture for the promotionals. Like they had that, like either that or
The
something
camera
like
was
that.
more in the
You're
front though. I
right.
think.
Wasn't he
Yeah,
in
that's
it
right.
then?
And I think they had this angle, like looking
Yeah.
at this, but not this one. And it's
they
like,
had it
oh
at a
my
different
gosh.
angle.
Oh my gosh, how
That's
come? And I'm pretty sure when they're editing it, they were like, nobody will notice. Just keep.
Well,
It's,
I'm trying to figure that out because they could have cropped it. It's far enough on the
Yeah.
edge. Like it's only a half second on screen, And like, sure, like, they wouldn't have had the resolution if they cropped it a little bit, but like,
Then again, Game of Thrones.
John
Yeah,
Favreau
yeah.
did say that they wanted to be more like Game of Thrones. So I mean, there you go.
there's that.
There
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
It's not a Starbucks cup, but it's a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
person.
I was gonna say I think that happened in Game of Thrones like in the last season 3 times.
Yeah, it
And
happened a lot in the last season of Game
That
of
blew me
Thrones.
away. I was
They
just
were ready to
like,
be done.
I was like, I mean, and for that show, like people really didn't like the last season, and I think that added to it too. So I'm like hoping that this doesn't happen again,
Nah, it's
or
not. It
I
was
mean,
just
or
a-
it's like some obscure thing that we
It
don't know.
was just a problem.
Yeah, as a little kid, I was always surprised we didn't see mistakes like this growing up. But I'm pretty sure there had to have been many because we didn't have the internet back then. But
Yeah.
it's funny that this actually didn't get caught in editing.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice it. I watched it twice. I never even noticed it. So
I've
It's
noticed
the
it
people
second
going
time,
frame
too.
by frame.
It's literally half a second. Like, if you don't, if you're not looking at the left side of the screen in that
Right.
general area, you're not going to see it.
all right. Some cool moments in this last episode. What do y'all got? What you got?
there was a statue of IG-11 in the actual town, and that is kind of a tribute to him, kind of saving the town when
Yes.
Well,
Baby
I was
Yoda
curious.
and the-
My assumption is it is him. First off, it's not a statue.
Well, no, he blew up though.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
I thought
Okay, I
the
was
exact
gonna be
same
like, wait.
thing.
Yeah.
I thought the
you're
exact
right.
same thing you
You're
did,
right.
and I was
that
like,
did
wait,
happen. That did happen. I'm sorry,
I-
guys. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I just...
hey, I said the green lightsaber earlier, so that's perfectly fine. You can say it.
Say what you want.
The speeder that ends up getting smashed is that speeder is the same type of speeder that Luke has in A New Hope. It's just added with a different engine. And then there was the scene where they have to shut down the reactor, and that is that's also kind of very similar to Obi-Wan shutting down the tractor beam. In A New Hope.
Yes, I was looking to see if they had the dial there that he turns.
Yeah.
but they didn't. Of course, they didn't shoot that. But that would have been really cool if you're like, oh, there it is. Like it's the same technology.
But the sound effect was there, right? Or did
yeah.
that just play in my
Yeah,
head?
the doo.
I don't know. It might have played in my head too. I have to watch it again because in my mind I was like, I heard all the sound effects. I was like, oh yeah, that's totally what it sounds like.
And they totally made reference to the fact that there's no handrails as
There's
well.
no yeah. It's like, what the hell?
That is, I mean, because of if you go back and watch the Blue Harvest episode from Star Wars Family Guy of where they end up blowing up Alderaan, and then the guys were like, all I want is a railing. Like, I mean, there's no railing here. And if someone falls, like, I'm suing the Empire. So, like, I mean, that kind of made me laugh. I was like, oh, yeah.
There is no railing.
It's like another Patreon commentary there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I called.
Oh, yeah.
I will say, oh, yeah, we got to do that one. And I did call that out in our Patreon that I was like, I love the fact that they said there's no guard railing. But, anyways, what else was there?
There's a callback. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the foot going down on the speeder whenever they accelerate. I was like, that was cool, man. From Return of the Jedi, they still kept that. I was like, that's so cool. Anyways, what was the callback?
That scene of them going down, like I was like, I'm waiting for someone to hit a rock, and sure enough, both of them are running into each other and they explode. And I was like, I saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah,
but that part was that camera angle, that like the sound effects. That was the coolest thing. I was like, dude, that was bad.
And
kind of a callback to a little bit like the trench run too from A New Hope, and then the Falcon doesn't show up, but the Razor Crest does. So that's what I saw a little bit. Like it was kind of a throwback to that a little bit.
Hold up. Those mechanics on Navarro are like the greatest mechanics ever because they fixed that Razor Crest in like 45 minutes. Apparently, I mean that thing looked brand spanking new.
Yeah.
The red dude with the goggles who put a tracker on.
Yeah, he's probably the best mechanic in the whole galaxy. I'm just gonna say.
So right, that's a Solo A Star Wars Story reference because that alien is from Mimban.
Yep, and that species also showed up in Squadrons as well as like the captain of the squadron that you're in. They're I was trying to think of the other one. Oh yeah, so those TIE fighters. I thought like the only type of TIE fighter that had the wings fold up was the only one. Like the only one in existence I thought was Moff Gideon. But when we see it, there's like 4 of them that do that.
We saw him
And
in the trailer.
Yeah.
No. He's saying like he thought that there was only that one, and then now we're seeing like, oh, they did have more.
Yeah.
And from the trailer end to this one, you're like, oh man, like that's a whole thing.
I have a question on that. Maybe I'm just really dumb, but that's okay. I mean, do we know for a fact that in the original trilogy, the TIE fighters didn't have that item?
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, we do know for a fact. Yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was saying shut your mouth because that's a possibility. We all just missed it.
I didn't know. I was like, is it just a thing the TIE fighters can do? And
so it was Doug Chang who had the original concept art done with the TIE fighter with the wings like that. And then they brought it to life. It wasn't a Ralph McQuarrie thing. It was a Doug Chang drawing.
Okay. That's awesome.
And the fact that Doug Chang is still working on Star Wars like since the prequels is amazing.
Well, I just found out last year that he's not only like the designer, but he's also the vice president of Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Like,
he's been vice president for a while now.
Yeah. When I heard vice president, I thought, oh, he's vice president of the art department. That's cool. But then it was like vice president of Lucasfilm. I was like, holy crap. He's like second in command there at Lucasfilm. Yeah, exactly, Colin. That was my face too.
Wow. No, I'm blown away because of you never hear from him. Like he doesn't say anything
because he's too busy drawing these amazing pictures for all of these projects.
Wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a super humble guy. James and I actually attended his TED talk.
I remember that.
Dude, that was awesome. He showed us the thought process behind the designs of episode 1. And I was like, I never thought about that. But anyways, okay, back to Mandalorian. Okay. the dog fight sequence with the child throwing up and putting his hands up in the air. Anyways, the shot of him going up and then stopping and then like going straight back down. I was like,
that shot was really
awesome. Cool. I saw a TikTok. The guy was like, this is better than all the other dog fights I've seen in the sequel trilogy. I was like, hey, knock it off. All right. It was pretty cool. It was really cool to see that the Razor Crest kind of have its because we've seen the Razor Crest do some cool things, but this was like, boom, this old hunk of junk is amazing. And so I thought that was really, really, really cool in this past episode.
Seeing the Resistance pilots show up again at the end of it, I wasn't expecting that. And the way that they were talking, and also, can we also talk about how Coruscant was mentioned twice? I thought that was really cool how they mentioned that because I love Coruscant and that's a huge thing of the prequels. And they talked about how the people in the core worlds didn't believe that there was stuff like going out in the Outer Rim and in the other territories. Yeah. So I think that is foreshadowing like something big is going to happen where there will be a big battle like that will have the Mandalorians and the New Republic kind of like fight against the what's left of the Empire, because at the end in Star Wars Battlefront 2 you actually get to fight in the Battle of Jakku, and you think, boom, that's it, it's over. But it sounds like there's another big battle coming up. Yeah. And it was mentioned in episode 3 of this season, and it was just mentioned again and this how it's kind of foreshadowing something big.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
What you got, David?
So the callback that made me laugh out loud was when the Mythrol in chapter 1 talked about that you don't want to see a fledgling Mythrol evacuate his thorax, and that's exactly what he did when he
saw that's right. I forgot about that. My friend, I know her. She actually is a makeup artist. She worked on that makeup for Mandalorian.
Oh, that's cool.
For the actor, yeah. And I forget who, like, somehow, like, she sent a picture to somebody, and, like, it was like, don't tell anybody, but it was like her putting on the makeup, and I was like, that's freaking awesome. I've been trying to get a hold of her, but she's really busy. But anyways, I thought that was pretty cool little trivia. I know people who work on stuff, so. But that doesn't make me cool at all.
I don't know. It kind of does.
Yeah. No, I got a podcast with some awesome people. That's what I have. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
What other cool things did we see or Easter eggs, or was that it?
protocol droid as a teacher. I don't know. That's not that.
Talking
Oh,
about
they did talk about some of the different hyperspace the like different kind of places in the galaxy. They also talk about the Maelstrom.
yeah, the same one that they go through in on
And
Solo.
yeah, and Solo, and I think they also talked about like some other stuff that it's not like on the top of my head. Like, I mean, I'm just trying to think, but in that scene, they do talk about stuff that we have seen. Like, in
I thought
Star
that was
Wars.
really cool too. And I
Yeah.
like that they turned the bar into a school. Like, I was like, this is wholesome. This is a cool
Yeah.
place. I like this a lot, you know?
Yeah,
And I
Who
hope
says
we
it's still not a bar as well?
Hey,
yeah.
I got nothing.
The
I got nothing.
the town looks very clean now. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it looks cleaned up. It looks different.
And everyone seems very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something else that I was talking to Brooke about was that now there's 2 marshals in the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wondered
Yeah.
if that was significant because
Yeah.
they made a point to be like, "Hey, Marshall," and I was like, "Oh, like."
Yeah, like
do you
Marshall
think
Cobb
that-
Vanth, Marshall
Ooh.
Cara Dune.
Do you think they're gonna meet and fall in love?
Ooh.
And they have a kid, and that kid becomes a marshal. The 3 marshals.
All right, we're
Now,
gonna
that's a
go.
spin-off I would
Spin-off show.
watch.
Spin-off show. Disney Plus
3
next year.
marshals.
Marshals. That's what
Oh
they
my gosh.
make their last name Marshall.
Yeah.
Marshalls.
Anything else?
I don't think so. We're now just losing it again.
Okay. All right. David. David, do your closing statement.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are talking about this fact, but I know in TV they always talk about golden ages of TV. I think we're in another like golden age of Star Wars right now with the Mandalorian,
Yes.
and
I agree with that.
it's hard to imagine Star Wars getting any better than this. I mean, if Taika Waititi releases like the best Star Wars film of all time, I guess maybe that could be a better moment. But I think right now, at this point in time, right before we get live action Ahsoka, I think this is one of the best, if not the best, moment in Star Wars fandom. So those are just my
Ooh.
thoughts.
I love it.
Those are some thoughts.
That's a bold claim.
That's
yeah.
a bold claim.
Return of the Jedi coming out was pretty cool, I would imagine. But
All right.
I can't believe that they changed the song at the end of Return of the Jedi from Yub Nub to What We Hear.
No, seriously, that was the greatest song. Anyway, right.
I think you're gonna miss it.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about this thing, but so yeah, going forward with Mandalorian, this next episode is the episode. Like this
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
everything that
It'll be
everybody is waiting for.
Besides the finale, like this is a big moment.
Oh,
for the
yeah.
season, so.
Oh yeah, and I think this is gonna get us pumped for the finale because I think this episode's gonna start to paint the way of like, hey, this is what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
So here's my question. So we have all these rumors, which have never been confirmed, that Rosario Dawson is playing Ahsoka. We have all these rumors that everybody's talking, but Lucasfilm never said, yes, this is true. So here's my thing. Is her voice going to be dubbed over? Because we've heard Ahsoka already in live action in The Rise of Skywalker. Like, it's legit Ashley X9.
Yeah.
Are they, and like David pointed out, and I'm going to bring up David's point. I'm sorry, David, but I will give you credit. You're the one who said this, that what if Lucasfilm pulls a fast one on us and it actually is actually X9 and not Rosario Dawson? And Rosario Dawson ends up being Sabine.
Thought. Because, like, Ashley X, she is Ahsoka. Like, and she even looks like her. Like, she would make an amazing live-action Ahsoka. So why would you not use her? So I always thought that was odd. So I had that thought, too, that maybe they'll just be like, surprise!
What are you, David, is that what you're thinking? Like, I mean, you're the one who said it. I'm just wondering if, like, that's kind of your, like, you still think that right now?
Well, the reason why I said it was because we were off the heels of getting Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan and how that worked so perfectly.
Yeah,
but
true. Very true.
Going back months ago, when the whole Rosario Dawson like rumors like kind of hit the internet, Ashley Eckstein released a statement, and she said that she had no idea what was going on. She wasn't informed.
Right, but you have to remember that the actor who played Obi-Wan was lying for like 5 years, for like 5 years, saying that like he had no
That's right.
that,
Yeah, Ewan McGregor had been lying, saying he didn't know if they were going to do anything, but he had known from the beginning that they were going to do Obi-Wan.
I think
Yeah,
that's apples
and
and oranges. He didn't release a statement saying an official
Okay, true.
statement saying I have
Maybe
nothing
at that
to do
moment
with
she
it.
didn't know anything.
John Favreau also stated that Boba Fett would not show up in The Mandalorian, and Boba Fett showed up in The Mandalorian. So
I never saw that.
Mhm.
Where do you state that at?
He said that when the first season was coming out, because of people thought that it would happen, and John Favreau said no, and that was because I believe the movie was getting made, like the Boba Fett movie was getting made, and then that got canceled, and then they were trying to steer away from Boba Fett because they wanted the Mandalorian to be its own thing.
Well,
And
I mean, that's a little different too because John Favreau is creating this and he doesn't want any spoilers whatsoever. So of course he's going to straight up lie.
that same thing applies to this situation. The actress could be lying and not saying anything, so then people kind of steer away from that thought, and then when it happens, everyone's surprised.
I don't think so because so many people are so emotionally tied to Ashley Eckstein and to really
can see that.
saddened. So, but yeah, I mean, she did appear at Galaxy's Edge and she did that whole fan event where she signed all those lights.
Yeah.
On the opening day. But
so we have no idea.
Well, I have an idea. I mean, with all the stories and stuff that I've heard, yeah, it's Ahsoka, and I think that it's true that Dave Filoni never gave Ashley Eckstein a heads up, which is kind of odd, you would think, because I mean they worked so many years together.
Yeah,
but I mean there is a possibility, that all could be a lie. But I'm thinking the probability is no. She has nothing to do with the Mandalorian, and I don't think her voice is going to be dubbed. I think it's going to be full on Rosario Dawson, and because I mean she's a huge star. I mean I don't think she would.
Yeah. I'm just hoping it's not because, and the reason why is because of, to me, Ahsoka's voice is iconic to that character.
But she's older too,
right? And I know that, but she also,
we saw her in Rebels,
right?
Which is
right. And I mean, and there are some people who are like, oh, like her voice didn't sound the same. It did sound the same. I mean, it didn't sound the same. It aged with the character. Because if you compare her voice from her first appearance in Clone Wars, like the Clone Wars movie, to her last appearance in Rebels, you can tell that that she made her voice sound older than the character when she first came into Clone Wars. So I think they could do exactly what they did with Darth Maul's appearance in Solo, where it ended up being Ray Park, but then they ended up using Sam's voice. Not Sam here, but
yeah, it was me. It was me, guys.
Yeah,
but yes, true. But then it's man, then Lucasfilm wasn't smart with using her voice in The Rise of Skywalker, then, because you've already put that picture in our head, when you hear her voice in The Rise of Skywalker, when I heard her voice, I gasped because it was, like you said, it's recognizable immediately who it is. And then to go back and be like, but that's not her. This is actually her. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you're like, what are they? How are they going to handle this? And did somebody somewhere make a mistake with that? We don't know. We're going to find out this week. But it's one of those things where both sides are like, yeah, it could totally be somebody else because – yeah, Ashley Eckstein said she had no idea what was happening, which is possibly true. Or she's been lying to us hardcore and she just wants everybody to be surprised when it happens. We'd have no idea. So, but yeah, I just wanted to see how y'all thought about that. And I don't know. This week's going to be insane. I'm not going to be able to sleep at all.
No, I'm going
to be drinking Red Bulls. I'm going to be pumped. I'm going to stay up until 2 to watch this episode. I don't care. I'm taking no prisoners with this one.
Yeah, I was going to say we both have to work on Friday morning, so I think we're going to have to go to.
Well, it looks like you're going to be really tired when you go to work.
Yeah.
Friday morning.
Oh man.
Because dude, in this and I'm going to put this out there for all you Star Wars fans, and I know you have to work in the morning, but you have to watch it early because the spoilers are going to be out immediately when it happens. Don't. And if you're going to wait, stay off of Facebook, stay off of Twitter, stay off of TikTok, Instagram. Dude, TikTok has no filter. These guys are monsters. No. They're like, dude, you see this? And they'll show it. And I'm like, whoa, this aired. And I'm glad I saw it the show before I went on TikTok at 5 a.m. because people already are like, oh, this was cool.
Yeah.
Crap.
So far, I've watched every episode the first time on my phone in bed. The second I wake up, so first thing I open.
My wife's been out of town lately, so I wake up early and I just bring my recliner right in front of the TV and get my dog. And I'm like,
Nice.
and I turn it, and it's like 4 a.m. I'm like, I don't care. No one's here. Who's gonna get
Blasting
mad at me? Yeah, the neighbor's gonna get mad at me, but I don't care, so it's okay.
Yeah, I'm doing 2 a.m. every morning right when it comes out with my AirPods connected to my Apple 4K as loud as possible.
Whoa.
So, yeah, there's no way I'm not going to watch these when they come out because you go on social media, you're immediately going to get spoiled. So
Yeah, and this is the episode. Like, this is, I don't know. Like, if I was Lucasfilm, which I'm not for a good reason because I'd screw something up. But anyways, if I would want them to have a teaser for this episode this week. Like, it would be so cool if like on Wednesday they go on Friday and you just show a couple of images and then you just say like, and you just give the title of what it's going to be called. That's all I would do. And then, oh my God.
I mean, something else that I've been thinking about is that, like, you're right. This
Thanksgiving
episode
football.
I was going to say this episode is highly anticipated. And
I think a lot of the general public don't know that.
Right. But I'm talking about to like the Star Wars community. So so if it is not as hype as we're building it up to be, it's gonna disappoint a lot of people. So I mean, so I'm just telling all of our listeners, try and set yourself up for disappointment.
Can't do it.
You can't do it.
It's
impossible. It's impossible.
I'm saying this
Not gonna happen.
because
I don't think you have to.
if you overhype yourself and the episode is not everything that you wanted to be, you are going to be very disappointed. And I know, like, there are some people out there like, you know what? I didn't like this episode. I'm done with the show because it's not exactly what I wanted it to be. And I mean, and
welcome to Star Wars.
Yeah, I was going to be like, that's life. It's going to happen. Just don't overhype yourself. Like,
well, Colin, I'm here to overhype you because we're gonna get Ahsoka with lightsabers mowing down dark troopers for the first time on screen.
I'm gonna scream when she. Okay, again, if she comes out on screen, I'm gonna scream at the top of my. I think I want.
Gonna be like that Jonah Hill meme.
I want to record myself watching this. In fact, I think I will. I think I'm gonna put my camera up and I'm gonna record myself watching this thing. I think there's gonna be a moment that we're all going to lose it. Because I saw this amazing compilation on TikTok where whenever she says,
sent it to me.
I said that to y'all. Yeah. When she's like, there you'll find Ahsoka Tano. You just see all these people screaming at the top of their lungs, So, and then David found a meme where it was like the most, like, what was it? The most screenshotted moment of 2020. And it's her saying, there you'll find Ahsoka Tano. And I was like, was like,
so
like the greatest moment of 2020. So
that is the trailer for this episode.
She said that.
Yeah, true.
When Ahsoka actually shows up, I mean, it really will freak people out. And I mean, and people who are, not like, I mean, to people who got introduced to Star Wars through The Mandalorian won't have as large of a reaction as some other people.
They're gonna be lost as hell.
Yeah, and
I'm curious if they say anything about her, like if they do like an introduction in some way.
I'll be like, this is Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
With Hayden
last time on the Clone Wars.
Oh my God.
It goes into 2D animation.
And
I don't know. It's what's his name narrating.
Yeah.
What's his name narrating? Ahsoka Tano on the planet, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Mandalorian comes to fight her
a galaxy divided. Mandalorian and Baby Yoda.
All those fans are going to be like, oh, wow, they went there. Like, Filoni's like.
I would be very, very blown away if, like, Tom King ended up, like. Could you imagine if the episode, like, opened up like the Clone Wars does, and it had like some like kind of sappy like advice for people, and then we'll be like, in a galaxy divided, the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda are going to Corvus, and you're just like, oh wow,
no way.
I think there's a chance that Ahsoka Tano is going to have the same word for word dialogue that Obi-Wan had in A New Hope, talking about the Clone Wars, explaining it to Din Djarin.
Oh,
interesting.
I was watching Jedi Knight.
And then we hit
The same as your
flashback
father?
Hayden
Din
and
Djarin's father's a
McGregor.
Jedi?
Oh, shut your mouth.
But in the same way they introduce Obi-Wan's character in A New Hope. That's what I'm anticipating they introduce Ahsoka as.
Oh my
In
god.
that same way, because you're seeing that character for the first time, right? So I think they treat it that way for Ahsoka, which would be like really cool.
Something's happening, and like he's all like, "Oh, what do I do? What do I do?" And then she just drops out of nowhere and saves the day. Like that.
I know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like this honestly is like a big part of Star Wars history. Like, I mean, of this character entering. Because of something that a lot of people don't know is that when the Clone Wars happened and Ahsoka made her debut, a lot of people didn't like her.
No,
like,
yeah,
a lot of people didn't like her. And
I
then
didn't get it because I was like,
yeah, and
she's annoying, man.
Yeah.
Like, of course
Freaking
no one
calls
thinks
R2
Yeah.
R2y. Oh my gosh, hate
yeah,
that, man.
yeah,
That's-
and we fast forward to now, and she is like
the most beloved character. She's up there in like the top 10 Star Wars characters ever. You know,
and that shows you how great of a writer and director that Dave Filoni is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it is nuts. And I mean, and it's not just Dave Filoni. Like George Lucas helped make this character too.
Yeah.
So it's unbelievable to see her finally come into live action. And I think like the first like Clone Wars character that we actually saw come from the screen that was made for the Clone Wars like to the big screen was Guerrera in Rogue One, and that surprised a lot of people too. Like people were not expecting that. And now we're getting to one of the main characters from the Clone Wars coming in. That's gonna blow people's minds away. And no joke, if they end up not doing a show, I would be very surprised. But I mean, because there's so many shows in the works right now, so Ahsoka has to be one of them. But it just depends on how they deliver the character in this episode, because this is a huge deal. This is her live action debut, and they have to do it right.
What would be really cool, and David, how would you feel about this? Instead of the old school Lucasfilm logo, the new one, they do the old one before this next episode, just like he did in the Clone Wars. Remember when the Clone Wars last 4 episodes started and it was the old Lucasfilm logo?
Yeah.
And we were all like, oh yeah, what if they do that with this one just to get us all like, okay, this is it, man.
They won't.
They
won't.
Seems like they won't.
Yeah, my body is ready.
I am, like I said, I'm not going to be able to concentrate this entire week. Like Thanksgiving's here. I'm thankful for I'm thankful for this podcast. Y'all let me come back after I was gone for so long, and for all of you.
Never left, James.
But I will say, like, I'm going to be just thinking about this episode on Friday, like the whole time.
We should just do a Zoom call, like for our reaction. Just have the gallery mode.
Well, we could, yeah. Oh, wait, but we all have to be awake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Again, I have to.
What time do you have to work?
What time can you go to sleep so you can wake up at 3 to watch it?
I could probably go to bed maybe around 9 and maybe wake up at 3.
We're good. We're golden.
Yeah, I say do that.
Okay. I'll be there. I'll stay up.
But the question is, will you be able to sleep?
I'll be fine.
I'm not sleeping
on Friday.
What time?
Oh, okay. Well,
so I'm solid.
Oh, it's just Colin.
Well, yeah, it's just me.
Oh,
so we don't need Colin.
Whoa!
What time do you work, Colin?
You know what? How about we talk about this like after
on the podcast
because we're podcasting right now.
Well, I was gonna say it doesn't matter.
Love to listen to us talk about anything.
Yeah. So
Max Rebo lives second hour. Here we go.
Yes,
the whole hour, Max Rebo.
The Star Wars holiday special came on November 17th, Life Day, and it was Lego Star Wars, so it was a little ridiculous.
It was canon.
100% canon, no doubt.
I do consider parts of this canon. I'm just letting you know.
So certain parts were canon. So I was pleasantly surprised with the fact that it worked. Like
it was good.
It was good. Like some of it was like, oh, that's for kids, but then some of it I was like, that was cool. Like that was really, I like how they did that. So I loved it. I think it's gonna be, and I think Michael on the Star Wars Stuff podcast group, he said this is gonna be a new tradition now. Every year is watching this thing, and I was like, yeah, I could see that. I think this is gonna be a new tradition for me to watch the holiday special on Life Day because it was fun. It was a fun Star Wars story that they made work. Like it should have failed with everything they were doing, but I think it worked. What, David?
Yeah, I think everything that Lego does from the Lego movie till now is all been pretty good. And the trailer was really good, and I thought I watched it like a couple days later, and I thought it was pretty good. It was watchable, it was entertaining, and it wasn't too long, wasn't too short. It was like 45 minutes or something.
Yeah, it was like 40.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. It wasn't laugh out loud funny, but I mean, it was pretty good.
Yeah, our roommate that actually works over at Galaxy's Edge, she said an actual Life Day. Some people were coming in with that. If people who haven't seen the original holiday special, there's a bunch of Wookiees that hold like these orbs that glow, and people over at Galaxy's Edge were actually showing up with these orbs, and they were telling other cast members like, Happy Life Day. How are you celebrating today? And I was just like, that is great.
Please tell me they all got together and sang the song.
So
I celebrate the day of peace, a day of harmony. I'll stop.
I'm not gonna sing the rest of it.
Oh geez. But I mean, but it is so funny. It's so funny for like something to be like, I mean, of the holiday special to be like, you know, like not really great to be like
it's perfect.
Star Wars pop culture reference that like people like actually love and like have embraced, because
we love to hate it. That's all it is.
Oh
Star Wars fans love to make fun of it because it's one of those things that's just like this.
Like why?
Like,
why did this happen?
Like
the
why?
fact that everyone's in it is so good. Like the fact they got all the actors. And it's that bad.
Anytime I tell
they didn't have a choice
horrendous.
though. They honestly didn't have a choice because of their contracts. And then when it happened, George Lucas was trying to get rid of every copy. Like
I so wanted the sequel trilogy to honor that and have everyone come back and do another like spoof on it.
There's no way that like John Boyega and Daisy Ridley or any of them would do it.
Come on.
So this was the closest we got to it. And how many of the voice the actors were there? It was Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah.
And
Billy
it was
Williams,
Bradley Baker.
Anthony Daniels.
Yeah.
Anthony
Bradley Baker, James Arnold Taylor, Tom Kane, Matt Lanter,
and Anthony Daniels and the others. But yeah, Daisy Ridley didn't come back. Boyega, Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, all three of them are now like on the rise. I mean, not unfortunately, fortunate for them, but unfortunate for us Star Wars fans. All three of them are like taking off very well. Oscar Isaac was already like gone, but everyone else is doing very good for themselves. So it's going to be hard to ever get all three of them back to do anything Star Wars going forward. So
I think years and years from now they'll come back. There's going to be some where they're going to come back. But yeah, John Boyega just recently did that interview where he said he would come back if the project was right and if Oscar Isaac and Daisy Ridley came back.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could see all three of them saying if the others two are there and it's good, we're all going to get together and do this thing. Because they all did great. I mean, if I know some of y'all listeners don't like the sequel trilogy, but you can't deny that all three actors did a great job with the roles that
I wish
they
we
had.
had seen more of them. Like I feel like we only got to see them all like together for a short period. I would have loved to see more.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that Finn, Rey, and Poe like kind of got to be together like for most of the part in the last film when in Force Awakens and The Last Jedi they were kind of separated. So I liked how they were together for the end. And that kind of trio kind of goes back to, you know, Han and Leia and Luke and to Anakin, Padme, and Obi-Wan. So it was nice to see that kind of going into the next trilogy. But the holiday special was good. I do make the part where Max Rebo comes in canon. And the reason why I do, I see everyone in here making faces. The reason why I do is because it wasn't a time travel thing. Like Lando comes in, he's like, Max Rebo, now this is a party. And I was just like, that has to be one of my favorite lines.
And then he says, isn't he a member of the seven whatever?
Yeah.
And then he says something and he's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So,
and that's implying they all died in the sail barge and Max
Except for-
Rebo lived.
how did he
I
survive?
want to
that?
go to
Ruby McCool,
Celebration.
no.
I want to go to Celebration. I would like to talk to Pablo, and I want a confirmation if Max Rebo is alive because I haven't found anywhere if he is dead or alive.
You know what Pablo's gonna say when you ask him that?
What?
He's gonna say, who?
And I'm going to be really upset. But at the same time,
Maybe Leland Shee instead.
Yeah, Leland would probably have the answer to that.
I got to know, guys.
All right. Well, when we see them at Celebration, we'll ask.
Please.
We'll ask that question. All right.
Yeah.
I think the bigger mystery is why hasn't Colin like committed and cosplayed as Max Rebo?
Oh,
It's
my
a hard costume. I've actually
gosh.
looked into it. That like,
Colin,
giant
if you
piano
do that,
thing is a
I
lot
will
of
be.
work.
I will get a Drew.
Brooke is
McCool
shaking her
costume.
head like, don't
I'll
you
do
do
it.
it.
Yes,
I'll do it.
Sam, you have to do.
I already
Droopy
look like
McCool.
Droopy, so it's great.
Are we just all gonna do everybody in the band?
We could do the
We
whole
should all
band.
do everyone in the band. That
No
would be
one's
the
done
greatest thing. How cool would that be? All of us walking around, just like sitting down. People walk by. No. Cool D-Day. And then like they just do like the giant.
Who's
Yeah.
gonna be Thigh Noodles?
Who's that? Is that the guy who's singing? That'll be me. I'm the short guy.
That's the that's the
singer.
female creature that
Yeah.
has like the long lips.
Oh,
That goes
no.
around here.
That one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa, that sounded
That was-
just like her. Like that was
honest.
good, man. That was really good.
It's Sam's and I favorite scene. But I mean
It was my
Well-
favorite scene because it was brand new back in
It was
'97. So it was like, oh
Oh,
crap,
man.
this is cool.
yeah.
But,
so
but But back to the holiday special. It was really great. It's really good. They tied in all they tied in everything,
including the
Star-
Mandalorian,
including
They-
the Mandalorian.
they did not include Rogue One. They didn't include Solo.
Yeah, you're right. They only
Yeah.
stuck to the episode. Well, yeah, they had a young Han Solo. Or was that Han Solo? In New Hope?
No, that was Han
New
Solo
Hope
from A
one.
New Hope.
Oh,
I took it as young.
Yeah,
young
no.
Han Solo.
No,
Oh,
Those
Star
Death
Wars.
Troopers.
yeah, I didn't see any Death Troopers.
oh, we're gonna have to go back and watch it now.
You know what?
Anyways, yeah, let's watch it right now. But yeah, it was a
Where's the
lot of
Patreon
fun.
commentary for the holiday special.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
We should do that. Who's gonna do it? I'll do it. Who wants
I'll
to
do it.
do it?
Sam. Yeah, I was
Okay.
gonna say it's a new holiday special and the old holiday special that we have to do commentary for.
I'm not watching the old holiday special.
Sam will.
I will. I'll do it all by myself.
You can
Whole
do it
thing.
all by yourself, and I'll never listen to it. All right.
You know, if we do a commentary, I could probably stand it and watch the whole thing. So
Well, it'd be fun to watch it with you guys. That's all I'm saying. Because like
Okay,
I
you know
can't
what?
get through it by myself.
Because
There's
of-
no way. But
Give
if
me
we're
a few
talking
of
about Star Wars
these,
over
A
it,
few of these, and I'll watch the holiday special.
Yep.
I'll drink. I will 100%. Let's do
No,
that.
I am
Let's
going
make
to
a
drink.
drinking game.
Oh
We
God,
could
we're gonna
get,
be
like,
gone
the-
halfway through. We'll be like, anyway.
Are you guys free later today?
You're crazy, man. But no, okay. Closer to Christmas, let's
Yeah.
do it. Oh, we already missed
Okay,
Life
all
Day.
right.
Let's have a day when we're all off, and we'll all like Brooke said, we'll do a drinking game. That'll be for Patreon, and we're all just gonna watch it. And I don't know what the game's gonna be, but I'm pretty sure halfway through the movie, no one's gonna be awake.
E-
So-
Every
time
single
Sam breaks out
time,
in the song, we take
Yeah.
a drink.
Yeah.
every
But, yeah,
single
let-
time a Pookie makes a sound or they say the word Life Day.
I'm sure there's a drinking game.
There has to be
Yeah.
a
It has
drinking
to
game.
be.
There's
Yeah,
no way
so
there
if
isn't.
you want to join our Patreon, go ahead and do it now. And also on there, Rudy and I every Friday are doing the commentaries for the episodes. So if you join, you can hear those as well as hear our future Life Day drinking game. Gonna be a blast, apparently. But yeah, like y'all said, and like David said, if we're all watching it, I will watch it with y'all. I'm not just gonna be
all
like,
right, fair enough.
I'm gonna
Okay.
watch it by myself. You know what I mean? So I've never
Yeah.
once been in that situation where I'm like, I'm gonna watch the holiday special today. No, that's never happened to me.
I've sat down and watched it all the way through once. I did it with my family, like as we would like a normal Christmas movie. Everyone in my family watched it. And it was,
And there's
it was
only
I
glorious.
showed her
It was
last year.
glorious. We're closer because of it. So
There's only one copy of the movie. Like there's only that version on YouTube is the only one that exists. And apparently Carrie Fisher had the other, like had a copy of the movie itself, like the actual movie. And she said that she would play it at her house when she wanted people to leave
Whoa.
her house. I was like, that's the best thing in the whole world.
That's right.
So, but yeah,
That's
anyways, so yeah, the holiday special, go watch it. The new one, don't watch the old one.
There's
We'll
got to be a
watch-
professional copy of it somewhere. There has to be, like, archived somewhere, right? George Lucas
yeah,
is.
they like probably have it.
He probably
over in the
burned
Lucasfilm
every
archives.
single.
Does
his
Disney
thing-
hold distribution rights for it? Probably not, but that'd be hilarious if they
I
like
think
put it on Disney
CBS
Plus or
has.
something.
CBS
Yeah,
or
you're probably right.
has
Is it on?
yeah.
Was it on CBS when it first aired?
It was one of those, but
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
bad.
Yeah.
But,
So
What else we got?
there was the new merchandise that came out at the Star Wars Celebration store.
Yeah, David, you got your merch.
Yeah, finally got my hats. It's been so long, I totally forgot what I ordered, but I got the trucker hat, the patch,
Yeah, same.
pins, and the lanyard. So
I've got my shirt and my Stormtrooper pin coming in the mail as well. And I totally forgot that I added that to my thing. So I mean, I'm super. Yeah,
Nice.
Pretty cool.
yeah. So it's. I mean, it does. It does suck that that Star Wars Celebration
Nice.
did get canceled, but it's going to be cool to have some of that merch from that convention that never happened. Because of one day it'll be worth something. Because of that celebration was going to be super cool, but now going to 2022 celebration is going to be like amazing.
Yeah.
Because of that's going to be like 1 year away from the new films coming out. By then, hopefully by then
Nice.
Nobi will be,
A thing.
yeah, like a thing,
thing.
and more Star Wars projects will be out there. So it does stink that celebration didn't happen this year, but 2022 is going to be a great year for Star
It'll be
Wars.
my first Star Wars celebration, so I'm excited.
Yeah,
And I actually might be like living near there, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
be pretty happy just to be like, I'm gonna
So we're
go.
staying at James's
So I was
James's
gonna
house.
say, we're crashing with you then.
Well, my house will be the size of my living room right now, like bathroom, kitchen, and bedroom and living room all like.
We can squeeze.
So we're staying with James then.
Oh, cram.
It's
Somewhere,
like I don't know
yeah.
about y'all, but it sounds like we're really just gonna stay with James this whole time.
Yeah.
He's on top of James.
Yeah, we're all gonna be cuddled together. But yeah, it's
Bunk beds.
I'm so looking forward to 2022, and like you
Yeah.
said, we're gonna be a year away from the Taika Waititi Star
Mhm.
Wars movie.
New Star Wars hype.
Oh.
I mean,
Hi-
oh god.
Mind you, okay, never mind. I have to say they have to give us something. They can't just be like,
No.
next year. No, they're gonna be like, we gotta give them because we haven't had Celebration in 3 years. They have to
Yeah.
have something. So or 2 years. Don't worry about it. Anyways, or do you think they're gonna wait until 2023 Celebration to give us that hype? What do y'all think?
Well, do we know the actual release date of the movie in 2023? I think they said in December, right?
Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's December. Yeah, December
Okay.
2023.
I think they would give us like a teaser or something. It really just depends on if the pandemic is like still the way that's happening right now, because
Better
there's
not be.
unfortunately there's a chance it might get pushed back again, and that would really suck.
Ooh.
Can't imagine.
I mean, there are like some companies where like, you know what, we're done and we're just gonna release it now because of Wonder Woman got pushed back like 4 times. And
Yeah.
and then they were finally like, you know what, we are releasing on HBO Max and we're putting it in theaters.
You know what? You got a point there because who
Yeah.
knows what the movie industry is going to be like in 6 months.
Yeah.
All these big movies that were supposed to come out are not coming out anymore. They're just going straight to streaming. So
Right.
it'll be a sad day when Disney says they're going to concentrate on streaming and that Star Wars will be on streaming instead of in the theaters.
Yeah.
Who knows what's
Can't
going to happen? I
imagine
mean,
they do that, but I think you're probably right that there will be more stuff that goes straight to streaming.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But anyways,
Yeah, I actually think by then, I mean, all the protocols and stuff society has gone through, and wearing the mask, social distancing. I think they're probably still gonna have it unless this thing gets like really like worse, way worse. So
Yeah.
I think Celebration's gonna happen, but of course it's happening in California where the restrictions are like really, really tight.
Right.
So
Yeah,
Yeah,
my wife
they're-
is there right now, and she says there's a curfew for like
yeah,
It's like 10
everybody.
p.m.
So-
at 10 p.m.
yeah, yeah, she can't. Yeah, she said I have to be inside the hotel in 45 minutes, or yeah. I was like, holy crap. So yeah,
Or else what?
Just have Celebration.
I
in
want. I
Florida,
wanted to
guys.
ask her. I was gonna say, hey, just test it out, see what happens if you're still out. I want to know. That's terrible.
10:01, you
That's
get
your
COVID
wife.
instantly.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, didn't mean to say that.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Jeez. But yeah. So there's like new stuff for Star Wars Celebration. I think that's really everything.
Yeah, that was
Just
about
a
it.
disturbance in the Force.
Oh yeah, okay. So it's back to the
Documentary.
holiday special. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah,
a disturbance
full
in the
circle.
Force
Back.
about the holiday. There's a documentary about the holiday special, and they got the writers. I think they got the director of producers, and they have archive interviews from the cast and everything, talking about what happened with the holiday special, like why it was so bad. And they haven't given us a release date, but on Life Day they did release a trailer of this. So look for that, and I really want to watch it.
It sounds like 2021, but we don't have a date. So
yeah, man, if I were them, I would have released it already. But that's just me, though. But yeah, so look for that one. That's going to be a really exciting documentary to watch, to see the mind and the brain behind the monstrosity that became the Star Wars Holiday Special back in 1978.
Yeah.
And so that was exciting. That was exciting. What else we got? Was that it pretty much?
Yeah, I think that's everything. So for our Patreon, besides the commentaries that James is doing, we are slowly getting to the end of adding stuff for the Clone Wars. I think David's still doing the his own segments, and then we are introducing a new segment soon, which is by yours truly over here. And
he's pointing to Brooke, by the way.
Yeah, I'm pointing to Brooke. And our new co-host, her name is Ray, and there's so much that we're going to be adding to Patreon, so just stay tuned for that.
Check us out.
And I'm also restarting up Our Stories, and I already released the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
we went about 2 hours.
3 hours
talking.
Oh yeah, he told me it was a long one.
Yeah, with one of my buddies in the 501st, and yeah, he lives a Star Wars life, and he actually started his own 3D printing business, which is called Squeeze
awesome.
Outpost. And yeah, I put some pictures up also on Patreon. There's links you can click on and see his work. He's printed out a full life-size battle droid. And yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, and I've uploaded that to YouTube as well. He was doing it from a cell phone, but the audio was great, but the picture dropped out a couple times. But I'm gonna upload it there to Patreon, so you can check it out.
Well, awesome.
All right. Well, yeah,
Well,
I think it's everything.
Well, thank you all so much for listening. We'll be back. Oh, if you listen to Patreon, Rudy and I will be screaming at the top of our lungs after this episode of Mandalorian. We'll be back also next Monday with another awesome topic. And thank you so much for listening. And may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.
Pew, pew, pew. Joseph, that was for you.